My name is Steve Smith, this is TQA Weekly, and this week I'm going to be talking about the 10 ways other people can hack your accounts. And for those who didn't already know, hacking is not done, presumably, strictly through computers. If you thought people only hacked using computers, you're definitely not a hacker, and one of the best things about hacking is the fact that it's an art form. It requires such skills as, yes, programming, but social engineering. And the majority of these methods do in fact require more social engineering than programming. So this can be achieved by anybody, anytime, so be freaking careful and heed my warning. So the first method of capturing your account is through malware. The attacker needs to access and get the information of your email account, and then he only has to send you an email saying that, let's say, your Facebook account has been compromised. Please run the attachment on your computer, which installs malware and viruses that can collect various amounts of information and even install such things such as keyloggers. So never open attachments at all, especially if websites say your accounts are compromised. And if they are, just log into the actual website manually. They will give you all the instructions there. The second method is to hack your email account. For this, attackers only need your email account and phone number. And in this case, the email account is going to actually be the email address is going to be used against a password recovery tool. They're going to say your email account has been compromised. Please reply with the other text message, the confirmation code, to actually prove it's you. Don't fall for this. What's actually happening is the confirmation code to allow you to access your account, although them access your account, is actually being sent to you because you're the actual legit owner. And if you actually send them the contents of that text message, you're basically null and voiding your access to your email account. So never send information to strange phone numbers, any phone number, or any other place. The third method is to gain access to your accounts through the reuse of passwords. Password databases are hacked every single year, and through no fault of many people, their information is actually subject to plain text storage on databases of many servers. It's actually one of the reasons why some of the original video sources where I used to post, like MetaCafe, I no longer post to, since the passwords themselves are actually stored in plain text. So what ends up happening is once these databases are compromised, your data is now subject to anybody being able to log into your other accounts. What is not necessarily understood by people is that by reusing the same username, email addresses, and passwords all the time, you're essentially giving the keys to your entire kingdom to anybody. A fifth method is called session hijacking, a very scary thing where people who don't know better actually just connect to any Wi-Fi connection that they want. First of all, I would like to point out that connecting even to unencrypted Wi-Fi is technically illegal unless you're given permission. Second of all, because you're logging over HTTP in a lot of cases through unencrypted Wi-Fi, you are subject to something called session hijacking, where tools like Firesheep, which actually first showed this and are the reason why websites like Google, Twitter, and Facebook are now encrypted, would actually allow people to take over your actual session and allow them access to your entire domain. A sixth method that could be related to this is called DNS spoofing. If any point during the navigation on the internet, any of the servers are poisoned, or you're accessing a router that is accessible, which you shouldn't, it is possible to be brought to a fake Facebook or Google or bank account and actually ask for your credentials this way. If you are accessing a public Wi-Fi or somewhere that you do not know, do not actually go to these important services, or better yet, use your own DNS services supplied on your own devices and laptops. It's fairly easy. I suggest OpenDNS or Google DNS, and make sure they're inside your Windows or Mac or Ubuntu or your cell phones or anything. But do not use the DNS services on unknown servers and Wi-Fi hotspots, because you never know where they're going to bring you. A seventh method, a method I've already had to deploy for specific types of services that some people, including parents, may actually want, it's called the man-in-the-middle attack. It's when you actually insert yourself inside the line of communication to actually intercept all of the data passing from the source and the user itself. In this way, you can actually access everything that's not encrypted, and they can also force the connection to have weaker encryption that would allow them to decode the information later. So definitely be careful of this. Make sure you access websites that are impervious to lower end encryption, but just make sure you're connecting to your own internet and internets that you will actually trust, because that's just like low. And also, the last three, 8, 9, and 10, are kind of related. So first of all, the 8th method is called the credit card attack. This happened to Matt Honan, so anybody who knows about his story might actually know it's a really long story. Go to tqaweekly.com/SE5EP40. In the show notes, there is a source to his story. I don't want to bore you. I don't want to make this episode super long. So first of all, what happened is somebody got his billing address and his email address information, and obviously his first name and last name. They called up Amazon. They said they wanted to add a credit card number to his account. They provided that information. Amazon obliged. They added the credit card information, and then they hung up. Then later on, somebody called back saying they lost access to their account, and they gave the credit card information they just give alongside his name, his email address, and of course his billing address, in which case they actually issued him, the hacker, a temporary password, which they used to log in. They somehow got the credit card information from the preceding card, which they then used to go against the iCloud account, which allowed them access to all his devices. That will just wait there. Then you have the fact that a lot of his password information, whatever, and his accounts are daisy-chained. So this is the 9th method. Attacking the daisy-chained accounts meant that they were able to access multiple accounts simultaneously through the use of one set of credentials. By doing this, they were able to connect into many different services and actually start capturing stuff. And this is how we presume they gained access to some of his other stuff, including Twitter, which they finally hijacked and took over and actually stated so. And then the last method of taking over of your account is called remote access to device. So first of all, I would like to point out you should never allow your primary device to be remote wipeable unless it is extremely vulnerable to being stolen, physically stolen. By allowing people to remote wipe your devices, you're actually allowing them to do whatever the fuck they want with it. Sorry for the language, but that is literally what it is. And this should be disabled. You should also make sure that they're not able to remote access your device. So if anybody ever calls you and says, please use, TeamViewer or allow us to your computer through a specific set of instructions, don't. Because that allows them to access everything about your computer and slow down your ability to get back all of your stuff. Through that specific method, being able to wipe his accounts by actually accessing other accounts through the daisy chain method and by using the credit card hack, they were able to take over the entirety of everything he had, wipe all of his devices, and make it really hard for him to gain access to everything once this was all done. So what have we learned today? First of all, never trust a phone call, an email, or a text message ever again. Never open file attachments in emails, never reuse passwords, and always get all of your information and your installed plugins from first-party sources, as well as avoid, whenever possible, unencrypted Wi-Fi hotspots, and always use your DNS services of choice installed directly on your devices themselves, especially if these are mobile devices where you're not necessarily guaranteed to know which DNS service that specific router or switch is going to be using. I hope you learned something. If you liked it, disliked it, click the dislike button, leave your comments and questions down below. And for those who didn't already know, I am currently running a Patreon, which is accessible at patreon.com/TQAweekly. If you're on YouTube, there's a link down below where you can give me any amount that you want to continue helping me support my show to actually go and get better and better equipment. I just bought a green screen and a green screen mount. I have to go and purchase lights. So if you want to help me buy all of this stuff, of course, that is the specific way to go. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already done so. Thank you for watching and have a great day.